Welcome to Shreveport Connection with Tommy. This video is on your AEW versus NXT video for the week of July 29th, 2020. Finishing off the month of July. Major League Wrestling has announced a new distribution agreement with Digital Original Entertainment. The new deal will see MLW content air on Digital Original Entertainment new DOE TV network, which launches this fall. The platform will be available on Pluto TV via internet connection, connected TV platforms, Android and Apple, and Android TV, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Roku, PlayStation, Xbox One, Chromecast, and Virgin Media. We're thrilled that DOE TV network viewers will get to see all the world-class fighters MLW has to offer starting this fall, said MLW COO Jared St. Laurent in a press release. Whether it's World Heavyweight Champion Jacob Fatu, World Middleweight Champion Myron Reed, or any of the other incredible athletes in Major League Wrestling, anybody who tunes into the DOE TV network can expect all the action and excitement MLW is known for. Hangman Page gets a drink with the FTR in the return of Being the Elite. Episode number 24 of 214 at this link. Former WWE star and one half of the Crime Time Tag Team, JTG, took to social media and tweeted out an interesting piece of fan art to AEW TNT champion Cody Rhodes. The image is an advertisement for Cody Rhodes versus JTG in a match for the AEW TNT Championship on Dynamite. Interesting. Cody Rhodes. Do you love fan art? JT writes. Tagging Cody in a post. Cody has yet to respond to the message from JTG. It has been a few days since I got that news for this video. Also noted, Cody will be defending his TNT Championship against popular independent wrestler Warhorse in this week's results from AEW Dynamite. He defeated Eddie Kingston in a no DQ match last week to retain the title and continue with the open challenges. AEW's Aubrey Edwards and Tony Schiavone invited Big Swole to the newest AEW Unrestricted podcast, where they talked about Swole's life dealing with Crohn's disease, as well as her near-death experiences, like getting struck by lightning. She also talked about how she was introduced to the world of pro wrestling. My former stepdad introduced me to wrestling when I was younger, Big Swole recalled. He was like, hey, have you ever seen wrestling before? Here I am. I'm 4 years old, and I'm like, no, what are you talking about? He puts on WCW. I think it was a Glacier match. I was like, this is awesome. This is great. I can yell at the TV. I can fight a little bit inside the house and practice my moves on my stepbrother D-Ron. It was right up my alley because I was a huge tomboy already at 4. I was hooked. I was flipping channels back and forth through the wars. Just simply amazing. I want to do this when I get older. This is great. I want to see it live. Big Swole talked about her interactions with legendary wrestlers like Macho Man Randy Savage and the Hulkster while living in Clearwater, Florida. She said she was told by now Hulk's ex-wife Linda Hogan to not be a pro wrestler and not to marry a pro wrestler. Big Swole is currently married to WWE superstar Cedric Alexander, and she revealed that the advice he specifically gave her when she decided to become a pro wrestler. I was 22 years old when I was grown and thought I could do whatever I wanted, Big Swole remarked. I just got out of the Air Force and working at GameStop just as a holiday hire. I was like, you know what? I really want to wrestle. And I started dating my boyfriend, now husband, Cedric. I told him, babe, I want to wrestle. And he literally sat me down. He was like, okay, if you're going to do this, Ariel, you need to be a wrestler. I don't want to hear this whole You're a woman's wrestler. You're a female wrestler. No, you're a wrestler. And you need to have that heart and that drive. You're going to do this. There is no quitting for you. You will retire as a wrestler. It was amazing. It made me sit back and go through life. This is what I'm going to do. He kept me on that straight and narrow pretty much. Big Swole had a brief time in WWE as Ariel Monroe when she had a match against Nia Jax on Raw and competed in the Mae Young Classic. She talked about how the opportunity on Raw came about. Well, I got the phone call from my friend Devon Nicole. She's like, I need you in Atlanta. Do you want to come with me and be an extra in WWE? I was like, yeah. Does a bear crap in the woods? Bro, I'm coming. Big Swole recalled. We get there, and I'm the smallest one out of the both of us. They're like, well, I guess you're going to be the one wrestling Nia Jax. I'm like, okay, cool. Throughout the podcast, Swole talked about how she's always herself and is never afraid to hold back her personality. She knows that the only people she's afraid of are her Lord and her mother. That philosophy led up to an encounter with Brock Lesnar backstage where Swole told Lesnar that she could kick his butt. It was just me being me the whole entire day. And I'm clowning with people I know and stuff like that. Big Swole explained, I see Brock Lesnar, and every time he walks past all the extras, hello sir, hello sir, hello sir, acting like they got some wedgies, acting all stuck up and stuff. I'm like, he's just a regular person. Stop bothering this man. So the last person bothered him like, thank you so much. I walked up to him like, hey Brock, right? He's like, yeah. I was like, I just want to let you know I can whoop your butt. The fact that I had the balls to say that because I was like, I'm going to make him laugh. Because obviously he was so pissed off with everybody stopping him 24/7. And he's like, that's funny. What's your name? I was like, oh, I'm Ariel. He's like, oh, okay. I'll remember that. You can whoop my butt? I was like, yeah, I can whoop your butt. He was like, okay. And he walks off. So I also talked about her match against Nia Jax where she got a hit on Jax for an unexpected slap in the face. She briefly explained what was going on in that moment. I went out there and had a good match. Swole said, wasn't expecting the slap in the initial part. I gave her a receipt that was not called because I didn't appreciate anybody hitting me like that on national TV. You're not going to punk Big Swole. That's what you're not going to do. So I kicked her right in her face right before she was supposed to do her stuff. I was like, hey, man, that was a receipt. She's like, I understand. Boom. Went on with the match. During this time for Swole, Alexander was competing in the Cruiserweight Classic, where an iconic moment from the tournament was when Alexander showed a strong effort against Kota Ibushi and earned her contract live on air. Swole said she ran into Triple H, who excitedly told her that story since she was not able to see it, which caused her to have her own moment of Triple H being excited about her then fiance in front of her. The second day, Cedric already had his match with Ibushi already. Swole noted. So Trips came up to me. He's like, thank you so much for doing the business yesterday. I was like, thank you for what you're doing with my family. He's like, oh yeah, you're Cedric's fiance. And I was like, yes. He begins to mark out and tell the whole story about what happened because I told him I wasn't there. And in my head, I'm like, would you look at this, Triple H? Now, I've never seen you on TV, and here you are marking out for my man's match. Ain't life grand? I'm listening. But I'm just like, this is crazy. I'm marking out within the mark out. After that, Swole said that she ran into Lesnar again. She said that she was ribbed into thinking that she would be a security guard that would help hold off Lesnar. She talked about him confronting her about her past remarks. It was a good environment. I had fun. Swole reflected. They ripped me and they told me I was supposed to be the security to make sure Brock wasn't supposed to be there because it was SmackDown the next day. So of course I'm like in my heels and stuff, and I'm blowing up, and I'm trying to do my job. I see Brock come up, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you again? You're the one that was saying that you're going to whoop my butt?" I was like, yeah." He goes, "So you're supposed to be security? They said you're the one that's supposed to stop me from getting here." Because he was supposed to beat up Randy that day. I looked at him, and I was like, "You ain't seen me. I ain't seen you, bro." And I'm like, "I'm gone. I'm gone because I don't want no problems." I'm like, "I'm just talking. My Twitter fingers just happened to come out." I'm like, "My bad." Swole's time in the Mae Young Classic was short. Having been eliminated in the first round, she said that after the tournament, she was never contacted by WWE. The only AEW called her to sign with them. No, after the Mae Young Classic, that was basically it. Swole admitted, "I honestly thought that there was going to be something else after that, but they just never kind of pulled the plug, honestly, until you guys came calling." Starting next Wednesday night on AEW Dynamite, professional wrestling world will see the debut of the real Matthew Hardy, according to the man himself on Twitter. Hardy has portrayed a number of gimmicks over the last 2 decades, including his Broken Matt persona as of late, and Matt Hardy version 1 in WWE. WWF when he made his debut, among many others. However, Hardy has admittedly never been his real self on camera, a side that he plans to show fans in the coming days. Stay tuned for the results for what happened with his gimmick for this week. So why is he dropping all other gimmicks? Hardy released a video on YouTube channel to explain his decision this week. It's a frustrating time in America. There is so much division, chaos, racial injustice, social injustice, and we are in the midst of a killer pandemic that has killed over 140,000 Americans. To make matters worse, both political parties, Republicans and Democrats, are trying to weaponize the chaos against one another for their own gain, Hardy said in a video released earlier this week. Maybe it's time for me to do my part to try and heal some of this division, to be a voice of reason. This is why I have decided to be real on the AEW programming, to be something I have never been on TV before, and it's time for me to be Matthew Hardy, he added. In that same video, Hardy explained why he moved away from the popular Broken Matt gimmick within a month of his AEW debut. When I first debuted as Broken Matt Hardy on AEW Dynamite, every Wednesday was supposed to be in front of the sold-out arena. I thought thousands of people would scream, "Delete, delete," at the top of their lungs. Unfortunately, this never happened, and Broken Matt debuted in the first ever AEW empty arena event, and had yet to perform in front of fans. Hardy then decided to change course and perform a highlight reel of his past characters, moments, and personas. However, the suspension of Sammy Guevara, who Hardy was supposed to feud with, only added to the Broken One's frustration. Again, stay tuned for the results to see if that feud continues. One of the coolest things about AEW is its passionate fan base. Not being able to interact with fans, and then Sammy Guevara getting suspended only led to more frustration, said Hardy. Hardy has not wrestled a match on AEW Dynamite since the victory over Santana on June 24th. In recent episodes, he has served as an on-air mentor to the Private Party and has accompanied them to the ring. Motor City Machine Guns have just won the Impact World Tag Team Championships off the longest reigning tag team in Impact history, the North of Ethan Page and Josh Alexander. And Josh is a friend of mine on Facebook. On last week's episode of Impact Wrestling, the Motor City Machine Guns got the win after Chris Sabin reversed out of the Northern Assault and rolled Page up for the pinfall victory. This is the second time that the Motor City Machine Guns have won the championship. The last time was back in 2010. The North originally won their former championships the weekend of Summerversary last year against LAX. On last week's episode of AEW Dynamite, Sammy Guevara made his return after serving his suspension following controversial remarks that he made in 2016 towards WWE wrestler Sasha Banks. AEW President and CEO Tony Khan spoke with Justin Barrasso of Sports Illustrated to comment on Guevara's return. Sammy completed his 4 weeks of extensive sensitivity training and his curriculum, including subject matters of tolerance, gender, race relations, and why people's words matter. Khan said during his suspension he was very contrite. I asked him to use that time to try and become a better person, and I think he did. Sammy was off TV for a month and suspended without pay for 30 days. And I think it was the right time for Sammy to come back because he's shown that he's very sorry and he can change. He spent every day over the past month trying to prove that. Khan confirmed to Sports Illustrated that Guevara's salary was donated to Women's Center of Jacksonville. He reiterated that Guevara is committed to change. The Women's Center of Jacksonville put out a very nice statement about how this terrible situation has turned into a positive. Khan stated, Sammy completed the entire curriculum we put out in front of him. He was clearly committed to change. Guevara apologized for his comments made on a podcast where he said he would want to rape Banks. Khan said he believes that Guevara has done necessary things to change for the better. I meant what I said about reevaluating his status with the company based on his conduct. Khan reiterated, Sammy needed to make a lot of strides to keep his job and make amends for stuff he shouldn't have said. None of us knew he said those things, and it's stuff that was years old. But that doesn't make it right. I think Sammy was very happy to have an opportunity to apologize, publicly and privately, and do something to turn a terrible comment he made into something positive. AEW Chief Brand Officer Brandi Rhodes joined Christy Olson on Christy Reports this week to discuss her on-screen and backstage roles with AEW and this link. Rhodes talked about the upcoming AEW Women's Tag Team Cup and what fans can expect to see. And I think you also see some of the cup descriptions in that link. Wednesday, that's all going to be crystal clear. Rhodes explained, we're going to explain how the teams come together, and you might see a team or two come together. Thus, her tag team, the Nightmare Sisters. It's going to be a fun episode. Definitely wouldn't miss that if you're interested in the Tag Team Cup tournament. So, we'll leave you in a little bit of suspense. Rhodes has been confirmed to participate in the tournament, but hinted at the Deadly Draw concept she may not be teaming with who fans think. But they've already announced their tag team together. This is the factor that the Nightmare Sisters could maybe not be together in the tournament. Since that hasn't been clear, Rose stated, so we will also see on Wednesday with the rules what that means for the Nightmare Sisters. I'm honestly hoping that we are together because, again, I feel like we've just gotten our footing, so it would be kind of sad to tear us apart at this point. They've only been together, 2 weeks? Well, there's been rumors that the tournament could become an annual event for the company, which Rhodes said is something she was hopeful for, as it would be a good chance to feature more female talent. My same idea, because it also reminds me of the Battle Bowl, because you have to advance in the tournament, you have to wrestle 2 matches as a tag team against possibly your heel opponents. I I think how you look at a lot of things, Road explained, you try things, you see how they go. I, of course, am very hopeful to see that the tournament is something that can continue to happen and it's going to bring great opportunities to a lot of women who don't normally get to be seen on Dynamite or on AEW Dark as often as we like to. Rhodes also touched on the recent hashtag Speaking Out movement, which rocked the entire wrestling world and directly affected some AEW talents, including Sammy Guevara and Jimmy Havoc. Rhodes spoke about how the company handled the decision making regarding talents whose names came up in association with the hashtag. Nothing mentioned of Jimmy Havoc on his suspensions or anything, but he has not wrestled in a couple of weeks. I think that was kind of the first run for us. In a scenario like that, Rose stated, so a lot of people had hands on deck for that. There was a lot of very open-minded discussions on how we should handle things. A lot of the legal department had hands in helping with that, and a big part of the public relations department. We're lucky to be working with some people who are vets in the industry for 20, 30 years, so they're able to weigh in opinions. It was interesting to navigate. As the first real, this is a big situation. It's greater than us. How do we look at this? I think we handled it very well, considering the circumstances, and it's hopefully something people have learned a lot from. As the company continues to learn and listen to allegations that occur, Rhodes said she explained to their female employees that AEW is there for them if they ever have any concerns or issues. I have had a conversation with a lot of our women after that and just said, hey, I'm glad that this happened so that you know these are people that you come to if you ever have any kind of issue or concern or maybe feel a certain way. You've got all these resources available to you. Rose explained, it's nice and interesting to hear that because in the past there was none of that. Rose further explained how she didn't always feel that the people would listen and help in the past, and that has something that has come a long way in the industry. I remember being in situations where a situation would arise, and I would worry. If I do say something, it's my job in jeopardy. Rhodes recalls thinking. Now, women, no, that's not the case anymore, which is so comforting. Rhodes also added that she has fans who cross the line through direct messages on social media, which led to her closing her DMs from the public. There's a limit to what I can handle of people sending me pictures of their genitals, Rose stated, so I'm not open publicly to DMs anymore. If you want to know more, you can go to that link for the full interview. Former Evolve star Leon Ruff, who has been appearing on WWE TV in various ways for the last year, has officially signed an NXT deal. According to PW Insider, Ruff is apparently the first of several Evolve talents that were signed to a deal when WWE purchased Evolve. That also noted the contracts of Evolve stars were not included as part of the deal when the company was sold. Ruff teamed with Adrian Alanis for a lawsuit at Forgotten Sons on December 4th, 2019 episode of NXT. He lost to Aleister Black on March 19th, 2020 of WWE Main Event episode, and lost to Black again on March 23rd episode of Raw. He was also featured on SmackDown in a loss to Sheamus. As of late, Ruff has been featured more on WWE's 205 Live show. His most recent match resulted in a loss suffered at the hands of Drake Maverick on the July 21st 205 Live. Ruff is yet to win a match on WWE TV. Apollo Crews, Austin Theory, Drew Gulak, Keith Lee, Johnny Gargano, Matt Riddle, Ricochet, and O'Day Lorcan, or just a few others that have used Evolve as a stepping stone to get to WWE. Former WCW, WWE, and TNA star Eric Bischoff is set to make his AEW debut next week. Spoiler alert. According to Reddit user Space Force One, Bischoff will make an appearance on next week's taped episode of Dynamite. The user previously provided spoilers from a taped episode of Dynamite as they were in the crowd at Daly's Place in Jacksonville, Florida. live fans in attendance. There you go. Bischoff will reportedly appear in the segment between Chris Jericho and Orange Cassidy, as it was previously announced that there would be a special guest moderator for a debate between Jericho and Cassidy. Looks like that role may be going to Bischoff. There's no word yet on what's actually planned for Bischoff's AEW future after that, if anything. But as soon as I know, you'll be the first to know. AEW has announced 7 matches for next week's Dark episode. The show will be headlined by FTR taking on Brian Pillman Jr. and Griff Garrison in tag team action. Also, be a women's division action with Abaddon versus Killing King. AEW Dark airs each Tuesday night from 7 p.m. Eastern Time on YouTube. And a full lineup for next week's AEW Dark episode. The Gun Club versus Aaron Solo and Serpentico. Jack Evans versus QT Marshall in his return from COVID-19. Butcher and Blade versus Private Party. Abaddon versus Killing King. Scorpio Sky from the SCU team versus Will Hobbs. Peter Avalon and Brandon Cutler versus Joey Janela and Johnny Kiss. FTR versus Brian Pillman Jr. and Griff Garrison. Dynamite, full results. Best friends, Luchasaurus, Jungle Boy, Orange Cassidy defeated Inner Circle. Cody defeated Warhorse to retain the TNT Championship. Hangman Page and Kenny Omega defeated Dark Order to retain the AEW Tag Team titles. Hikaru Shida defeated Diamante. John Moxley and Darby Allin defeated Brian Cage and Ricky Starks. Inner Circle battled Best Friends. Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, and Orange Cassidy in a 10-man tag match to begin the show. Thus setting up a 12-man tag team for next week. Match recap. Jericho tagged in Hager right away, and Orange Cassidy greeted him with a couple of lazy kicks. Jake lifted Cassidy in the air, but Orange escaped and drop kicked Hager. A brawl then broke out, and Jericho booted Cassidy to the outside. Chuck flipped out and onto the Inner Circle outside the ring, and Trent followed up with a moonsault. Jungle Boy hit Santana with a Hurricane Runner, and Luchasaurus hit a splash onto the Inner Circle. Back in the ring, Trent went for a splash on Sammy, but Hager broke it up with a forearm to the face. Jericho tagged in and planted Trent with a suplex. Ortiz hit Trent with a DDT outside the ring. Trent hit Jericho with a drop kick and tried for the tag, but Ortiz stopped him. Hager tagged in, applied a headlock to Trent in the middle of the ring. Luchasaurus tagged in and beat down Hager in the corner. Jake came back with a massive clothesline and then turned around into a Superman punch from Orange Cassidy. Ortiz hit Cassidy with a power bomb and then turned around into a boot to the face from Trent. Jericho hits Trent with a Codebreaker. Sammy hit Jungle Boy with a GTS and then got leveled by a kick to the face from Luchasaurus. Jericho grabbed the baseball bat, Sting style, but Orange Cassidy threw him over the barricade. Rivera made his way to the top rope, but Matt Hardy, same hit. Hardy shoved Sammy off the turnbuckle out of nowhere. And Luchasaurus hit Sammy with a kick to the face for the pinfall win. Later on Dynamite, Jericho challenged Orange Cassidy to a debate next week and announced that they will have a rematch on the August 12th episode. They actually have a match in 2 more weeks. Match recap of Warhorse chopping Cody across the chest in the corner of the ring to start the action off for the TNT title match. Warhorse then rolled up Cody for a 2 count, and then Cody comes back with an arm drag. Warhorse followed it up with a clothesline that turned Cody inside out for a near fall. TNT champion rolled out of the ring to regroup, and Dynamite went to a commercial break. Dynamite returned. Cody had Warhorse in a half crab in the middle of the ring. Warhorse reached the ropes to escape the hold. Cody went for a figure 4, but Warhorse quickly reversed it. Cody broke free, but Warhorse sent him to the corner with a drop kick. Warhorse then hit the champ with a couple of clotheslines in the corner, and then another one in the middle of the ring. Warhorse made his way to the top rope, and Cody rolled out of the ring. Warhorse hopped down to the apron and hit Cody with a double stomp to the back. Back inside the ring, Warhorse made his way to the top rope and hit Cody with an elbow drop for a 2 count. Cody went for the figure 4 again, but Warhorse countered into a roll up for a 2 count. Cody hit Warhorse with a drop kick to the knee, and then went for the figure 4 again. Warhorse blocked it for a moment, but Cody was able to lock it back in for the submission win. After the match, Dark Order rushed the ring and attacked Cody. Arn Anderson got in the ring before Matt Cardona, formerly known as Zack Ryder, and WWE made the save. Cardona shared a hug with Cody and posed with the champion to end the segment. And that sets up next week's match. As Warhorse is freaking awesome, and I hope he winds up in a part of AEW's roster. Cardona looks jacked out of his mind, and I can't wait to see what AEW has in store for him, as he will make his wrestling debut for AEW next week, as Cody is his tag team partner, as you'll see later on in the results. Kenny Omega and Hangman Page defended their titles, their tag team champions, against Stu Grayson and Evil Uno of Dark Order. Colt Cabana joined commentary for the match. Recapping the match, Evil Uno sent Omega to the corner and hit him with a chop to the chest. Grayson tagged in and booted Omega in the face. Kenny knocked Uno off the apron and hit Stu with a backbreaker. Hangman tags in and hit Grayson with a moonsault for a near fall. Hangman leveled Evil Uno with a big boot and followed it up with a fallaway slam. Page hit Stu with a crossbody, but Evil Uno sent him flying into the ring post. Uno launched Omega into the barricade as Brody Lee looks on from the stage next to the commentary table. When Dynamite returned from a commercial break, Omega hit Grayson with a moonsault for a near fall. Omega then sent Stu flying out of the ring, but turned around into a big boot from Evil Uno. Evil Uno then hit Omega with a senton off the top rope for a near fall. Grayson hit Omega with a 450 splash. They went for the cover, but Kenny kicked out at 2. Hangman leveled Grayson with a clothesline and then planted Uno with a powerbomb. Omega hit Uno with a V-trigger for a near fall. Hangman and Omega then hit Evil Uno with a V-trigger and buckshot lariat combo for pinfall win. Omega and Page are still your AEW Tag Team Champions. Brody Lee demanding Colt Cabana and Anna Jay leave. Anna Jay is new for the Dark Order, a new female. Brody flipped out on Stu Grayson and Evil Uno before grabbing a microphone. Young Bucks come to the ring as Brody Lee said that the Dark Order is everywhere. Masked men come out from the crowd. Brody Lee told Hangman Page that he pissed him off for the last time, and now that it's time he pays. Several members of the Dark Order surrounded the ring before FTR made the save. A massive brawl broke out with FTR and the Elite standing tall. This is a great match, and the Dark Order has really grown as of late. Omega and Hangman still have friction, and it seems like Page is gravitating towards FTR. AEW Tag Team division is ridiculous, and it's only a matter of time before Page and Omega drop the belts. AEW Women's Champion Hikaru Shida faced Diamante tonight in a non-title match. Recapping the match, Shida went right after Diamante to start off the match and beat her down against the ropes. Diamante leveled Shida with a chop and unloaded several punches to AEW Women's Champion. Diamante knocked Shida out of the ring and went after her. Hikaru hung up Diamante on the barricade, connected with a running knee to the face. Back in the ring, Shida climbed to the top rope, hit Diamante with a drop kick for a 2 count. Shida followed it up with another knee to the face, then sent Diamante to the apron. Diamante hit Shida with a series of chops in the corner, then knocked Hikaru to the mat. Diamante then hit Shida with a stunner and went for the cover, but the champ kicked out of 2. Hikaru connected with a Falcon Arrow and went for the cover, but Diamante kicked out of 2. Shida followed it up with a running knee to the face for the pinfall win. MJF challenged Jon Moxley to a title match at All Out. as he made a presentation on the stage, a state of the industry, tonight on Dynamite. MJF said today, he has been given a ton of time to force feed to the everyone information. MJF asked the fans to use the hashtag MJF 2020 and hashtag not my champion as the crowd chanted, "You suck." As he referred to the wrestlers in the audience as bench warmers and griped about not being spotlighted 2 weeks in a row on Dynamite. MJF said, "It is time for a change of leadership," and that one man in particular called for a paradigm shift. MJF claimed AEW has went from an revolution to a dictatorship, and that is why Moxley isn't his champion. He complained about how everyone just performed gymnastics instead of actually wrestling on the show. MJF mocked Moxley as trying to cosplay Stone Cold, and he brought up ratings. And then MJF brought up that he draws better ratings than Dictator John. Heck, I thought he was talking about John Cena from WWE. And the AEW is meant to be the land of opportunity, and Moxley has squashed that. MJF vowed to carry AEW on his back because his talent outweighs Moxley's talent, and he is the guy that is going to be leading this company for the next 25 years. He then challenged Moxley to a title match at All Out. MJF cut an awesome promo that seemed like he was going to announce his presidency running. Looking forward to this feud with Moxley, as I don't believe that they're going to give him the Duke for the win. The ridiculous entrance was great, and the Stone Cold line was epic. It's incredible how talented he really is, and I would have zero issue with him putting the belt on him at All Out as a heel champion. And they did advertise it. Moxley will face Darby Allin next week. John Moxley and Darby Allin face Brian Cage and Ricky Starks in a tornado tag team match in the main event. Darby Allin hit Starks and Cage with a coffin drop before the match started. Starks hit Darby with a clothesline as Moxley hit Cage with some chops to the chest outside the ring to start the match. Cage levels John with a kick to the face and then caught Allin as he went for a crossbody. Moxley then hit Cage with a suicide dive and grabbed the trash can from under the ring as Dynamite went to a break. Dynamite returned. Cage hit Allin with a German suplex for a near fall. Moxley launched a chair into Starks' face and then hit Brian with a knee to the midsection. Starks hit Allin with a spear, but Moxley dropped him with a cutter. John then hit Cage with a belly to back suplex, and then followed up with a pile driver for a near fall. Starks hit Moxley with a drop kick to the face for a 2 count. Starks and Cage then hit Moxley with an Alabama slam on top of the trash can and went for the cover, but Darby broke it up at 2. Allin sent Starks into the ring post and then made his way to the top rope. Moxley and Allin hit a paradigm shift combo drop combo on Cage for a near fall. Darby grabbed his skateboard. They had tacks on it. Allin leaped onto Starks as Moxley hit Cage in an armbar. Allin pinned Starks for the victory as blood poured from Ricky's back. It was announced after the match that Moxley will defend against AEW champion Darby Allin next week, and a face-off in the middle of the ring. Aside the opening match, this week's Dynamite was wildly entertaining. I thought MJF's promo and the TNT Championship match were the highlights of the show. Tonight's AEW Dynamite featured Jim Ross, Tony Schiavone, and Taz on commentary instead of Excalibur. Taz filled in for Excalibur, who was missing from the show. I think I briefly mentioned something about it a couple of weeks ago, that he had other duties or something. But it was not mentioned on TV why he was absent. Earlier this month, Schiavone couldn't make an appearance due to COVID-19 test results being delayed. And out of an abundance of caution, Schiavone was held out a week until the results came in. Commentary did explain his absence on TV, unlike tonight with Excalibur. Dave also noted on Wrestling It Was Over Radio that Excalibur made it to Jacksonville, Florida last night to fulfill his role as an announcer on the show, but he was held off TV. As seen at this link, a video has been trending online that shows both AEW announcer Excalibur and WWE superstar Kevin Owens using racial slurs during a promo at a PWG show in the early 2000s. The video has been posted on social media over the years, but regained traction over the past week. So look for Kevin Owens to have a suspension in the near future as well, if not fired. The video has been posted. Excalibur can be seen grabbing the microphone and asking if Super Dragon feels comfortable replacing them with the men in the ring. However, he uses racial slurs to describe them. Owens then grabs the mic and emphasizes one of the slurs to further antagonize one of their opponents. Human Tornado. Owens' racist line was actually taken from Stone Cold Steve Austin's portrayal in The Longest Yard, in which Austin played a racist police officer. During early 2000s in PWG, Human Tornado would apparently encourage people to do promos based around the subject of race to garner more heat. According to Dave Meltzer, this reportedly made Owens uneasy, and he was reluctant to do the promo seen in the video. After the event concluded, Excalibur and Owens apparently realized how big of a mistake they made and apologized for it. Next week's show already announced. AEW's TNT champion Cody and Matt Cardona versus John Silver and Alex Reynolds of the Dark Order. Chris Jericho debating Orange Cassidy with special guest moderator. MJF, another state of the industry address. FTR, Young Bucks, Hangman Page, Kenny Omega versus Dark Order, 12-man tag match. AEW post-show link can be found on this link, featuring Alex Abrahantes talking about tonight's show and answers fan questions. July 29th episode of NXT, aired live on the USA Network from Winter Park, Florida, Full Sail University. Io Shirai and Tegan Nox defeated Dakota Kai and Candice LeRae. Johnny Gargano defeated Roger Shaw. Mercedes Martinez defeated Shotzi Blackheart. Imperium of Fabian Aichner and Marcel Martel defeated Everrise, Chase Parker, Matt Martel. Isaiah Swerve Scott defeated Jake Atlas. Dexter Lewis defeated Timothy Thatcher and Finn Balor in a triple threat match qualifying for the North American Championship. Takeaways from this week's show. Tag opener, Io Shirai and Tegan Nox versus Candice LeRae and Dakota Kai in a tag team match opened the show and did so in style. Things got wild towards the end of the solid match. Finish saw Io hit a moonsault on top rope, but her knees landed on the head of LeRae. Kai didn't wait around for the partner after the match, and she stood up on the stage. 4 stars have some history. Of course, we have the never-ending feud between Nox and Kai, while Shirai retained her NXT Women's Championship against Nox 2 weeks ago on NXT. Following the match, Kai laid out the current champion with a kick to the face. Fast forward to last week. There was a video promo done by Kai, who stated that it felt good to kick Io in the face. She added that once Shirai returned, that she should be waiting on her and to bring the title. Clearly, WWE is building up Io defending the championship against Kai heading into NXT TakeOver's 30 event. This was a nice way to continue that program while also featuring Nox and LeRae, who could be headed into their own feud. Roger Strong versus Johnny Gargano match. In a match that actually made sense in booking, Roger Strong versus Johnny Gargano took place in a singles match. This was the best match on the show. It had to be, considering the quality of wrestlers in the bout. Gargano went over in the contest when he hit the springboard DDT. Of course, both guys lost in the triple threat match that saw Bronson Reed win last week in order to move on to the ladder match at NXT TakeOver 30 to crown the new North American champion. Reed won after flattening Strong with a top rope splash after Gargano spiked Strong with a one final beat DDT. Following the match, WWE had them exchange words that led to this match. Second ladder match spot. Triple threat match that featured Finn Balor, Dexter Lumis, and Timothy Thatcher doing battle for the second ladder match spot at TakeOver 30 to crown the new North American champion. Balor had his knee taken out when Thatcher had him in a submission hold. Lumis managed to lock in the submission finisher on Thatcher, who passed out as a result, and Lumis won the contest. After the match, Lumis was staring at the title. It was a fun match with a better ending, although some will be surprised with Lumis going over. They protected Balor with the finish, though. As a result, Lumis now joins Bronson Reed as the other competitor in the match. More stars will be added to the bout in the coming weeks to set up the match. Shotzi Blackheart versus Mercedes Martinez in a singles match was booked, with it continuing to feud the two sides. The match was fine, with Martinez going over. Of course, Blackheart went over Alia last week on NXT, and she is a client of Robert Stone, who has been embarrassed by Blackheart over the last few weeks. Following the loss, WWE reintroduced Martinez on TV and aligned her with the group. Things are getting pretty clear coming out of this match. One, NXT officials clearly see something in Blackheart and continue to build up her as a likable babyface. The other is that Martinez can be a future title contender, as Io Shirai is currently a babyface champion. Keith Lee responded to Karrion Kross's action from last week. Of course, in the headliner of the show, Kross beat Dominic Dijakovic, who is the good friend of the yet better enemy of the NXT champion. Kross beat the former title contender in a violent way when Kross put the head of his opponent between the ring and the steps and kicked the seal. Lee came out to the ring and pleaded for his friend to quit the match, but he took the strikes before being choked out. On this show, Lee cut a promo about how he can talk all day about how his friend wanted to beat down and that he is a grown man who will be just fine. Lee stated that Kross has made it a point that he wants his attention and the title. He said that Kross has done extra BS and it means nothing to him. He said that Kross doesn't have the balls to face him. Thus, Lee is calling out Kross. Cameron Grimes makes his way to the ring as he was taken out by Lee. This led to Scarlett standing on the rampway before Kross appeared on the big screen. Kross questioned Lee for watching his friend get beat down. He said that Lee has two choices, which are to give him his shot at the NXT title or the hard way. That would be let everyone suffer. Lee said that Kross can pick the time and place, and he would whoop that butt. And also lay the title in front of himself. You want some? Come get some. Week 42 of the Wednesday Night War saw AEW Dynamite pick up another win over WWE NXT in viewership and ratings. Dynamite's episode drew 773,000 viewers, down 8.5% from last week on TNT, topping 707,000 viewers, up 15%, garnered by NXT on the USA Network by 9.3%, according to Showbuzz Daily. AEW ranked number 57 total viewership, while NXT ranked number 60 in viewership. Combined, the two shows averaged 1.48 million viewers, up 1.4% from last week. AEW drew .30 rating in the 18 to 49 demographic, down 6% from last week, while NXT drew .18, up 6% in the same demo this week. Last week's AEW show drew .32 rating, while the NXT episode drew .17 in that same demographic. AEW rank number 6 in tabletop 150 for the 18-49 demo, while NXT ranked number 28. Real Housewives of Beverly Hills topped the night in that demo on cable top 150 with a .54 rating. With just 1.564 viewers, Hannity on Fox topped the night on cable in the viewership with 3.96 million, 967 million viewers, ranked number 3 on cable top 150, with a .32 rating on the same demo. Based on overnight numbers, United We Fall on ABC topped the night on network TV in viewership, with an average of 3.532 million viewers. United We Fall and Tough as Nails new program on CBS tied for the number 1 spot in the 18-49 demographic with 0.5 rating. The latest NXT injury video can be found in this link, with Matt Camp featuring updates on NXT superstars from this week's episode. The following injuries were announced from the video. Usually storylines for the most part. Cameron Grimes suffered a jaw contusion in a beatdown from Keith Lee. Grimes has called out Lee for a match on the next week's show. Finn Balor went into triple threat main event with a calf muscle tear that he suffered while training. Camp said it was uncertain that he would compete, but NXT doctors cleared him right before the match. Unknown if Balor aggravated the injury during the match, but updates will release when available. Triple threat winner Dexter Lewis also suffered an osteochondral lesion of the talus in the main event, or an ankle injury. He's set to undergo more testing, but there's no further update as of this video, as I'm doing it on late Saturday night. Late this week, I've had issues with my computer and other issues as well, throat health issues as well. Thanks and peace out. See you in 1 minute. If you don't know, brothers and sisters, just call me.